I DJ a lot of weddings, and when the bride and groom do their speeches, the groom,
Like, I'm persistent.
the wife from this situation was like, okay, so John, we worked together, and that was like kind of a red flag, and he kept insisting on taking me out on dates, and finally I gave in, and it was the best thing I ever did after, him trying for a year and a half. I'm like, John is crazy.
John was on it.
Go seek some help, dog. What the fuck? No means no, dog.
She's not that into you, no, I don't know why, but she's not that into you.
What up, it's your boy Jay Valentino, and this is another episode of She's Not That Into You, a show that's giving you substance on today's dating, coming straight from the source, the beautiful, lovely women. And today we have one of my favorite human beings in the world. She is a VJ. She works the red carpets. She works with brands. She models for sure. She is the very talented, the very lovely Miss Jessica Flores.
Thank you.
You know what it is?
Reunited. I haven't seen you in literally forever.
I haven't seen you
since
forever.
moving. Yeah.
How you been with your country self? We're just talking about that.
I know. Moved across the country, have just different priorities a little bit in life, and just wanted to change the pace. So I'm in Tennessee now. So
But you're doing everything that you've always talked about. And I love that about people. I love when people stick to their plan. I love that. You said, I'm going to build an RV, make it into a home, freeze my ass off in Tennessee while living in it.
literally
But
freeze.
doing it.
Yeah.
And she's done everything she said she's gonna do, and I love that when people do that. I love when people execute. I love when people actually execute on their ideas, because everybody has ideas and nobody moves on them, but you actually did, and it hasn't been easy.
No, I have struggled, and actually, it took me 4 years before I actually hit the road. It took me 4 years from the time I purchased a camper or whatever for me to actually, take off and do it, because it's scary. Leaving LA is scary. Leaving your career is scary.
Man,
your family, your friends has been the scare. I don't have any family out there. I had like 2 people that I knew from LA that are close friends of mine. Other than that, it was just a complete reset. It's like, Jay, right now, if I were to plop you in like Minnesota, you'd be like,
oh my
what?
God, I'd be lost.
And it's nothing wrong with Minnesota, but if you're not from there or you don't have roots there, it's hard. It's hard to kind of reset.
Yeah, okay, so if you guys don't know Jessica Flores, she actually started her build on her RV about 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I thought she was crazy. I'm like, yo, you're too pretty to live in a van.
I get that.
And then I'm like, yo.
It's scary, because it's scary. Like, and I can see why you say that, because any girl, doesn't matter. The minute you get out of a van and you're like in your PJs, because you live in it, then there's like guys looking at you. It could be a scary situation, and I've come across that. So, like, it really is. It could be. It's awkward.
And if you follow her on Instagram, you know that she took you from the start of everything, from the build, from laying the foundation. What's it called when you put the
skylight and the fan, kind of big hole on the wall.
Ceiling, and then when you make it so it's warm, what's that stuff called?
The insulation.
All that, and I'm like, yo, you are crazy. What are you doing? She's like, I'm gonna live in my van. What? What's wrong with that?
Yeah, I was YouTubing everything. People thought I had maybe like building experience. I don't even think I put together a piece of IKEA furniture, let alone carried a power tool my whole life. So it was all obsessing on YouTube and Google over how do you cut a hole in the roof of your van? How do you install this? How do you install that? Then obviously I got broken into my van twice, and I was so discouraged.
I remember that.
Yeah. And so I ended up selling that van and just buying a camper that was like old, needed remodeling. I painted it, made it cute. And then I finally, 4 years later, actually hit the road, and I'm like, see ya, everybody. I'm doing it.
And are you truly happy since you've been, you look happy.
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
Are you truly happy? Because not every moment of every day.
Right.
There's moments where I'm waking up in Tennessee and I'm like,
what am I doing?
What am I doing? Especially because you've known me in my career. You know what my lifestyle has been, which is event, work thing, interview, hosting, podcasting. It's like everything. My life is in LA. My money that I make is in LA. My relationships are in LA. To go and just be in Tennessee, it was refreshing because no one knew me, but it was hard because no one knew me, so it was kind of a little bit of like this give and take. So I'm not always happy, but I do know that I was brought there for a reason, and I'm going to just start over and rebuild some sort of the life that I want.
I think what builds character is being comfortable with being uncomfortable. I know it's cliche to say, but you're actually doing that. And that's really bold, and that builds character. And I've from the last couple of years that I've seen you, I haven't seen you in a while. Like, I feel the aura, the energy is stronger, and you're happier. But of course, I always say that happiness is also something you pursue, and you pursued it. Is it easy? Hell no. Have your pipes frozen in Tennessee in your car? Yes.
Yes.
Shit's gone wrong.
Wrong.
But it's built character, and here you are. I mean, you're alive, so you're doing something right.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still alive. I haven't gotten stolen from somebody, and I've survived a winter in Tennessee in an RV in freezing cold weather.
What kind of lock system do you have in there?
Not the kind that I should have had, if you want me to be completely honest, considering I've been broken into twice previously before hitting the road. But I'm very, honestly, Jay, and I think this could be a bad thing and a good thing, but I'm very trusting of the world. And I'm like, well, it happened twice. I don't think it could happen again. And I had normal locks and I was fine. But in retrospect, if I had a daughter and I sent her out into the world, I'm like, triple lock that, put a deadbolt on
Yeah.
it, like, you know? So I don't think I took as many precautions as I should have, but
And there
I'm
was one
alive.
time when you were in the van where they were trying to break in, right?
They did break in. They stole like my keys, my laptop, my iPad, which ended up getting sold. And somebody reached out to me saying, I think I just bought your iPad because I was still logged into my Instagram. You know, I got literally, they even stole my keys, Jay. So they could have gotten in the car, turned the ignition, and drove it off with me in it. I was in there sleeping.
You were asleep the whole time?
I was asleep the whole time. So I
Do
woke
you
up
think
to
they
everything.
saw you?
I don't know because, and again, I'm going to get eaten alive for saying this. I parked in Hollywood. You know, like, who does that? I was not thinking.
All right, guys. She's not as smart as she looks. Just, you know,
I was not thinking, but
not everything that glitters is gold.
yeah, so I made a huge mistake there, just being again trusting of the world, and so
Yeah,
But,
no
you know,
seas confiada.
I know.
That's
I'm a
what my
little
mom
too
says because I'm
confiada.
like that too. So I can't sit here and judge anybody. Yeah, I'm not like that. I'm a lot better.
Good.
I've left my laptop in my car and it's gotten stolen.
And you're a DJ.
And I'm a DJ.
That
That's
is-
crucial.
That's your life.
That's my life. That's my livelihood.
That is your livelihood. Yeah.
And with Mac products, which is super cool, thank you, Mac, you're able to type something from your phone onto your screen, so where you could like, I wrote something like, "Hey, this has a tracker, you know, good luck good luck with having this," and I found it on my neighbor's yard,
Oh my
like later on that
gosh.
day. Yes, and my
Oh
neighbor
my gosh.
came to me. I live in a white neighborhood, so they actually returned it. And they returned it. They were like, "Hey, I think somebody stole this. It was my front yard." I'm
Wow.
like, "Thank you." So I got
Wow.
that back. I don't care about everything else. They stole the wallet. I never carry money. Who carries money in their wallet these days? Nobody.
Yeah.
Everything's
Cashless.
cashless. Everything's with your phone. And I had like $400 in there. I'm like, yo. But yeah, confiado. No seas confiada.
I know, especially, and if you're a girl that wants to randomly do what I did, which is hit the road by yourself in
Yeah.
this crazy country, you cannot be confiada. Like, because I drive from LA to Tennessee by myself, and
How long does that drive?
it took me like 5 or 6 days because I would stop in I stopped in Arizona one night. I stopped in Amarillo, Texas, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Little Rock, Arkansas. I stopped in Alabama. Like I stopped in all these like random, because my dream was always to look at like rural, small town USA. I'm from rural Mexico, small town Mexico. So I wanted to see what that was like in the US, even if it was by myself. And there was certain stops where I would get out of the car, Jay, and I would go get gas and try to go to the store to get food, and I would sprint back to my car. I wouldn't even make it to the grocery store or the little mart because you would see eyes looking at you. You'd see just guys, and you know, sex trafficking is a real thing. You know, getting taken and not ever being seen again is a real thing. And I think I'm so used to my LA bubble, and I'm so used to maneuvering LA people that there's a whole other world, a whole different culture. You know, LA's a melting pot, and I learned that like the hard way multiple times.
Yeah,
So,
and you think you'd be safe because you're in the U.S. You know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
the case.
No.
I was in China for 12 days, and I couldn't wait to get back to the U.S. And as soon
Yeah.
as I got back here, I felt better. But I was in Seattle. I still didn't feel I didn't feel at home.
yeah, you feel
Yeah.
better because you know the culture and you know the music, or sorry, the music, not the music, the language and things like that. But there's still, as a girl, it is so different than being by yourself in LA. Being out there in the middle of like, I don't know, Arkansas, you're like, whoa, what happens if something happens? Who can I call? Who do I have a lifeline? It's not the same. So, but I wouldn't trade it
You
for the
consider
world.
yourself a nomad?
I did at that time in my life. I wanted to experience that. Like you know, Jay, like we come from an industry that you're constantly being pulled left and right. Jay, are we meeting here? Are we doing this? Are you DJing this? Are you interviewing this? Your energy has been given to so many people, and that can be an extremely taxing and draining thing, especially if you're like a sensitive person. Like I can be very sensitive to energy and things like that. And I got to a point where, you know, I was in the music industry for 10 years, 11 years, 12 years, and I gave so much of myself to other people that I was like, I'm gonna be a nomad, and it's just gonna be me, this van, my dog, and the sky, and God, and I'm just gonna disconnect and try to find myself in a way that it was so loud around me in LA that I needed to just go find some silence for a little bit, honestly, because I felt like I was crashing and burning at some point.
Yeah, and you did it though, and you did it because a lot of people, you know, they want to better their mental health. It's very important to, you know, keep that on track.
Yeah.
And they don't do anything about it. They don't work out. They don't eat right. They don't hang around the right people. They don't escape.
Escape. Yeah, and definitely, you know, escaping your problems, you know, you can fix your problems where you're at. You don't have to go do what I did, which was the most aggressive thing ever.
Dude, what the hell?
You know what I
dude?
mean? Like,
we miss you, bro. What the fuck?
but it was nice to just hear my own thoughts and like really just get out the city. But you can escape, like you said, by just doing little things every day, going on a walk down your street and just tuning into whatever podcast is your favorite one, or even if it's no noise at all, you can go out and find that peace. You don't have to, again, do what I did, but it was nice. I'm not gonna lie.
So,
it was really, really nice.
A person like yourself, a nomad, a crazy wild woman like yourself, I'm kidding. Independent, you know, do it yourself. You're like a whole tool belt, you know? Cuz she was working on her van by herself.
Yeah.
She was letting the whole world know, I don't need a man.
I needed a man. Let me be real. I needed a man at that point, but it's all right. I figured it out.
So, I mean, what does that look like in the dating life for you? But first, I want to ask you the number one question to start this off.
Okay.
Because this is a dating show. What's a sign that she's not that into you?
Ooh, a sign that she's not that into you. I think girls are able to have relationships with guys and just be friends with them. Like, we can do it all the time. We can have platonic relationships, but I
don't think guys could do that.
I don't think guys can do that either. I think we're just wired a little bit differently. And I think that's why even in relationships, sometimes there's tension between a boyfriend and a girlfriend, because a girl can be like, that is genuinely my friend. I do not see him like that at all.
But as soon as he gets a little love back, or she's buzzed and she's a little extra touchy, he's like,
yeah,
this is what I've been waiting for, homie.
And from a male's perspective, that's the case, right? Like, can you have girlfriends that you genuinely see platonically?
If I'm not attracted to them.
If you're not attracted to them. Okay.
If I'm like, you mean as friends?
Yeah.
If I'm not attracted.
Can you be friends with girls you're attracted to?
Yes, but if, you know, for whatever reason she gives me the in, or there's some kind of like spark, and this is just being real, like, yeah, I would. And if I'm single and the moment's right,
Yeah. I think when a woman, and the question was, when do you know that she's not into you? Mm-hmm. At least like for me, when I'm not into a guy, you'll be in that friend zone. Like, you'll be, you know, they'll view you in a type of light where they're not pursuing you, or they don't want to be pursued back in that way. You know, like you just kind of give off that vibe of, you know, like, I just kind of want to keep you there, and as like a friend or as somebody that we can, you know, have fun together, whatever kind of fun that is for that specific person. But if a girl's not into you, I think that they'll just show it in their everyday behavior, how they respond to you, how quickly they respond to you. It's like, how many times do you have to ask her to, you know, go hang out with you before she actually does it? A girl, if she's into you, she's going to make time for you. And I think that's the same way with women. It's like, to a girl, how do you know when a guy is genuinely into you? He will move mountains. He will do whatever it takes to be with you, to pursue you, to make you see that he's the man for you. You know, he's gonna, right? I mean, I don't know, I'm not a man, but I'm gonna assume.
This is true, because if he wanted to,
he would. And I think women, we spend so much time dissecting all the things that men do, and they're like, well, he texted me at 9 p.m. last night, and he was just so busy at work and things like that. And yes, there's some days where men are really busy, but realistically speaking, you're probably falling 2 or 3 on his line, and it's because another girl maybe didn't get back to him in time, or whatever it might be. I mean, I have 3 brothers, so I've seen them do it.
Oh, okay.
I've seen them do it, and then also I'm a girl that has had experience in the dating world, and so I know when I've been put on the back burner, and I know when I've absolutely not been put on the back burner, and it's a hard reality for some girls to accept, but sometimes he's really just not that into you.
Right. So in a nutshell, if she's not that into you, what's the sign?
I think this is the way that she communicates to you. And I know that's so hard. I know that's like not the perfect answer, because women are so difficult to read. Like, y'all, we're crazy. You know, a lot of the times we're all over the place. But I think it comes down to, does she make time for you? When you ask her out and you pursue her, is she making time for you? Now, one thing is a girl playing hard to get. And I don't think women should necessarily play too hard to get also. I think like if you are interested in a man, he's pursuing you, there should be a little bit of a balance. But you know when a girl's just shutting you down. You know,
and
like, and we want to lie to ourselves.
Hold on, I got a question. So how do you know when a girl's playing hard to get and when she's not into you?
I think she'll still be flirty with you. And I think she'll still kind of give you, you know, but again, like I don't super agree with the notion of playing too hard to get either. You know, if a guy's pursuing you and you're serious about it and you're serious about wanting somebody serious for you, then you're going to quit with all the games. You know, I think when you're younger, it's hard to do that. You're younger. You're kind of programmed and you hear all this advice of play super, super hard to get, but the games do get old.
Oh, yeah, they do.
At a certain
Yeah.
certain age, you're just like, I'm not trying to do all those games anymore.
Right. And the thing is, like, as far as being communicative, like, we are around our cell phones all day, every day. This is attached to our hip. They see the messages. We see the messages.
Yeah.
You know, and
They see 'em.
Just keep it simple, man. If you gravitate who you gravitate to, and guys gotta know that too. Like, yo, she's gonna gravitate who she wants to gravitate to. If she's not responding, then that's what it is, bro.
Yeah.
If she's showing you she doesn't care, believe her.
Believe her. Yeah. Like, I mean, in the past, I've had friends that have had situations where guys hitting them up or hitting her up like every month for years. For like years and years and years and years. And you know, I'm not going to say this happens all the time. There's always exceptions to every rule. You can never overgeneralize, but at some point it's like it's probably might not happen.
Oh
and again,
my
there's
God.
exceptions, but
Yeah, that's nuts.
you know, and I feel bad for those men that are in, you know, women's DMs and they're just not getting the response that they're wanting. It's like, you know, that energy could go towards a woman that's going to really give you, I think, that response back and actually want to build something real with you.
Right.
Yeah.
What's up, JC?
Have you ever given someone a chance who's been in your DMs like just persistent and you're like, all right, fuck it,
He wants to know for him.
to entertain somebody, right? Like,
Yeah.
or like, you know, a friend. I want to relate as much as possible to you, but I mean, if you have a friend that's gone through something like that and had a successful relationship.
Yeah, I do have a friend actually who there was a guy that was so persistent for years. And again, that's why I said are excuses to every single rule. I just don't want men to think that if they do this for years and years, it's going to happen for them. You
Right.
know what I mean? But yes, I do have a friend that happened to where they were consistently reaching out to her week after week. Hey, beautiful, blah, blah. And she didn't know him. He followed her. She didn't follow him back. And then finally she's like, who is this guy? Let me follow him. Let me see what he's about. And they ended up dating, and they've been together for the longest time ever. So
Holy
it's
shit.
there's always
So
it's
that's
always
the first
possible.
time. That's the first time
That's-
we hear that, right? 'Cause
Yeah, that's
usually,
crazy.
usually it doesn't work that way because it seems like the girl settles for like, all right, fuck.
No.
I didn't get the guy I want, but so and so has been in my DMs and he's giving me the treatment that I'm looking for. All right, I'll settle with this guy.
Yeah.
Well, I DJ. No, I've heard that story. I've heard stories like that before. I DJ a lot of weddings, and when the bride and groom do their speeches, the groom.
Was like, I'm persistent.
Yeah, no. The wife, well, the wife on this situation was like, okay, so John, you know, we worked together, and that was a kind of a red flag, and he kept insisting on taking me out on dates, and finally I gave in, and
Yeah.
and you know, it was the best thing I ever did after. You know, him trying for a year and a half. I'm like,
Yep.
yo, John
Yeah,
is crazy.
John was
John,
on it.
Go seek some help,
Shout out-
dog. What the fuck? No means
Shout
no,
out, John.
dog.
Shout out, John. And I do think there's stories like that. It's very beautiful. And but it's hard. You know, when a girl puts you in a friend zone or he kind of views you in that way, it can be hard. Is it possible? Absolutely. But it can be a very difficult
So
thing.
is it prideful for me to not? Okay, the most I've done is double text, which is like a no in the guy world, you know, and because that's like code for us. Well, you're double texting. That's fucking simpy. What?
Yeah.
You're gay. I have, and that's me. Really, for me, it's really swallowing up my pride for me to message again
Yeah.
after being either on DM. It's bad because it says you're left on red. You
Yeah.
know? And it's happened to the best of us. It's happened. I don't feel bad because
Yeah.
it's happened to my cute ass 6'3" homie before. So
Yeah.
I don't feel bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It happens to all of us. It's
It
happened.
happens-
Yeah, it's happened to my friends. It's happened to everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I've done the double text thing and still been left on red. I'm like, okay, that's
Crickets.
enough. I'm like, knife to the
Crickets.
heart. Or even on text, It's a little bit, you know, more.
Now, was this somebody that you had already seen in person, or was this somebody that you didn't know that you were just reaching out to
I've
online?
seen her in person
Oh,
already.
you've
I
like
had
gone
seen her
on
in
dates with her in person?
No, but we've had like cool combos, a little flirty here and there. But yeah, and
Yeah.
I text once, and even on text, text again. Okay, cool, I get it. But that's the most I've ever done. But recently, now more than ever, I don't double text. Is that a bad thing? Am I possibly reducing my chances of finding somebody?
That's a good question. Again, like I think every situation's different. When it comes to relationships, speaking in definitives is always a really difficult thing because, like I said, there's your friend's wedding that they would have never been married if he didn't hit her up for a year and a half. I think when a girl hasn't responded, at least after 2 texts, it could be like one of 2 things. She's either really friend zoning you, or maybe there's somebody else in the picture that she's entertaining or getting to know or talking to. And she's kind of still flirting with you maybe a little bit to kind of keep you there or string you along. But it doesn't necessarily mean you're her number 1 pick. So knowing where her head is at and what the different possibilities are could probably change how you pursue her, but again, you never really know until you actually have that conversation. Hey, or if you're seeing someone, totally get it. If not, then I know you respect yourself enough to not want to be strung along and to be like, if I'm second or third, or I'm not priority, or maybe you're single and you just genuinely don't want male attention right now, just let me know. We're all adults. You don't have to
Right.
string people along.
No,
Women
but
do it, men do it, we all do it.
People don't communicate like that.
No.
They don't have the balls or courage. They don't communicate like that.
No.
They feel, and that's maybe because they're nice, whatever it is,
Yeah.
but they don't.
So I have a question for you. I have a question for you. So, who do you think needs to show more effort or have more what's the right word to say this? Like, in order for a relationship to be successful, do you think both parties need to be equally invested in it, or do you feel like the guy needs to like the girl more, or the girl likes to like the guy more?
I think I've heard advice of marry someone that loves you more, or be in a relationship
I've
with
heard about
someone
that too.
that loves you more. I think it needs to be a partnership. I think it needs to be even. I think before anything else, like a woman wants a man to pursue her. That's just how it is. So yeah, you want a man to step up and pursue them, and even maybe sometimes it is that double text or whatever it might be. But I think a woman also has to love and be so invested in her man. And I think we're living in a generation right now where women, the issue is that men see beautiful faces on social media all day, every day. It is like diluted with beautiful people. And then women, on the other hand, are constantly getting all this validation for men. They're constantly thinking that we have so many options and the grass is greener somewhere else. If this man doesn't give me what I want, I'm going to jump to this man because maybe he could fulfill me in different ways. So to be able to block out all that noise and to be able to be like, I'm focused on solely you and you're focused on solely me, it has to be 2 people coming together and saying, I'm committed to you, you're committed to me. Because I think if there's even a little bit of an off balance, like it could be difficult. We want to love our man. We want to revere our man and see him up on a pedestal. You want to see your man as masculine and somebody that's going to protect you. We want those things. And I think a man also wants to be nurtured and loved, and he wants a woman that's going to come in and fill it. You guys are men, so you guys want that opposite energy. Again, not for everybody, but I think for a lot of the dynamics, that's what you want. And I think you want that equal energy. At least I know that's what I want.
For sure.
Can't speak for every woman.
Do you believe in traditional roles, or you believe in more progressive roles?
Progressive? That's a good question. So, because it's been a journey for me. I grew up in a generation where I think a lot of women, we were told a lot of propaganda, a lot of what was the messaging to us was screw traditionalism. Like, that's not going to make you happy. You're going to feel like you're in a trap. But I think with maturity and understanding the world and I've been a career girl my whole life. Like, this, I've, went to college. I did the whole thing, majored in journalism, went on to there and have had a great career. But I don't think anything will ever truly satisfy you the way that a family would. This is, again, just for myself, a family would for me. So with that, if I do want the family and I want a traditional family, the one that I was raised in, at least, I do understand to a certain extent, like I need to fall back into my role, and I want my man to step into his role. I want him to step up and be all the things that my dad was. I want him to step up and protect and lead, and he kind of is the one that lays the hammer in the family. And not every woman wants that. Some women really want to be the breadwinners, and that's amazing, but I don't think I'm equipped for that.
I'm okay with being a passenger prince, for sure. Like for
Stop.
sure. Hey, you think I bought these clothes? No, I didn't.
No, you want to be taken care of, huh?
No,
You know what's
no.
funny? You know what's funny? Because I had a video that went super viral, but I made a comment.
Show off.
That said, like, real baddies don't work. You know, they get taken care of.
Oh, I think I've seen that video.
Okay, so
I've
that was
actually,
me.
I've actually
That's him,
seen.
JT
that
the
was you?
comic.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
me.
I've seen
so
that video.
it was really sad to see a lot of women commenting like, "What? I'm not gonna depend. Like, you're just enslaving yourself." And it's like, nah. Why don't you just find yourself someone that cares enough for you to protect you and provide for you, and that way you're not looking at each other like, "Oh, I'm like, yeah, you're depending on him, but you also it takes the right person for you to find the right person to invest in you. Just like I'm assuming your parents, your dad with your mom,
Yeah,
right?
I think you nailed it because I could understand because I thought like that as well too. It was like that's enslavement.
All right, you've been watching this episode for a while now, and you still haven't hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's free. I appreciate the views. I appreciate the love, the feedback, but you haven't subscribed yet. Can you hit that subscribe? Thank you.
You know,
Yeah.
men, they're gonna fail you, and absolutely, men are gonna fail you. Women are gonna fail you, but
Because there is men who, like me and
Will
Jay,
lead.
right? Who lead, who
Oh, yeah.
provide and stuff like that, and we're looking for someone to take care of. That's not gonna be a pain in the ass. That's gonna be like, like, oh, está de mantenida, right?
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, it's a partnership. Like you said, you fall into your masculine role, and then you fall into your feminine role, and we all have different things, responsibilities
yeah,
too.
there's no
provide.
battling each other. There's no I'm trying to be, like a man. I'm not a man. I don't want to be a man. Building my van taught me.
I love how you
very
pronounce
quickly.
man, van.
Man. Oh no, I've been in Tennessee
Chad,
too long.
ladies,
Everybody.
potatoes,
I've been in
tomatoes.
Tennessee too long. No.
I
Actually-
told you that before, right?
Actually, my man has a country accent, so he talks like that. So sometimes,
Yeah.
honestly, te pega. Like,
of course,
I'm
you're a
like,
product of your environment.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're like, yeah, I live in my van, and I love playing in the sand, and that's my man.
Yeah,
Don't
exactly.
you understand?
But you nailed it. Women, we look at what our grandmas endured, right? With our grandpas, the machismo in our culture.
Oh, yeah.
So I think there was a pendulum swing where women were like, this is the last thing that we want. So we went all the way this way. But we're also seeing a lot of women that have only maybe have just been like screw off to men so much to the point where now a lot of women maybe want that family. They want all those things that maybe for so long they were kind of like so anti. So I think it's finding that middle ground and saying, you know what, you can depend on a man, but what men are you attracting? What kind of men are you dating?
You get what you put out, right?
Yeah,
where are
that's
you-
where it's at. It's
Where
what
are
kind
you
of men
going
you're
to
attracting.
find that man? Are you? And I used to work doing nightclubs. I used to be a MC because I used to talk on the radio in LA, and I'd go to like a nightclub to like go MC and be on the mic next to a DJ. So I've been in that whole ambiente of there's people there and there's great people, but you're also, you're not going to maybe find your husband in the club. You know what I mean? You're not going to find
Right.
somebody with the values that you want to lead a family. So to those women that maybe feel so let down by men and they're so hurt and traumatized by men that they don't feel like they can depend on one, I would urge who are you looking to depend on? Because there's really great men out there. Maybe just go to maybe church or go
church-
to a
church is
library. Maybe
It's a great
It
place.
is?
to-
a great place.
Yeah.
Maybe I've dated. I've
Is there girls there?
Oh, well, you gotta come to the one I go to, bro.
Well, you
Yeah.
see, I don't think you're going there for God.
I don't either, but sometimes I be like, you know what? God is throwing this for me. Like, look, my boy, like, like catch something.
He's doing this
you
for
know?
me and you.
And
Take
you.
advantage, man.
And sometimes some church people could be the worst of the
Hypocrites.
worst, hypocrites. But I think also if you're gonna, what are the odds of maybe finding somebody that's attending church on Sunday versus somebody that's hungover every single Sunday, after
Right.
being out? I think there's a little bit of accountability that women and men
Right.
can take in regards to who you're choosing.
I think it's just you get what you put out, right? You get what you put out. Like, I stopped drinking, and I did it for my own good, but that's also because I want to attract somebody that's not about the party life like that. You know what I mean? And I think the whole people that are constantly out, like now social media is our profile, our life profile, you know? So it's kind of easy to weed. And then I bring up social media because I'm on that all the time. And I've found a couple of cool candidates on social media. But you could also see like what you don't want right off the bat. If I see this girl partying all the time, she's drunk by 2 p.m. on brunch, and she's drinking and driving at 3 p.m., hitting me up, I probably don't want to court her because
Yeah.
it's just that. But I think you get what you put out,
Yeah.
How Even with me, like I had to put myself on check. Like, yo, I can't be out here dating all crazy and expect to attract the one if I'm
Yeah.
out here dating crazy. Okay, I'm testing out the waters, but I'm doing it 2-3 times a week.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I think one of the best.
You know what I mean?
And that's the realest thing
You don't
ever.
have to clip that. Go ahead, keep it in. This is real.
I think one of the best relationship advice that I've heard, or maybe somebody might have told me, is write down a list of the things that you're genuinely wanting, whether that's like a man that's masculine or a man, and I'm not even talking about physically. Okay,
You can say
I'm
tall.
talking.
It's fine. It's cool.
I'm talking. No, I'm talking about morally and character wise, like moral, character wise, and then lifestyle wise. Write down all the things that you're wanting in a man, and then be those things. And I think that's how you attract that person. Because if you're not, then you're never going to attract the type of man that you're looking for. You have to ask yourself: Are you
Doing the
are
same.
you the woman that he's looking for?
Are you projecting?
Yeah. So that when I heard that, I'm like, that changed my life. So I went home and I'm like, this is what I want. Am I being those things? Am I acting this way? Am I putting myself in situations
no, you
that
were for the
put me in that way?
Yeah, I'm kidding.
Jay, I was never for the streets.
She was. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You had your fun though.
I mean, working in radio and working with DJs and things like that. Like, yeah, I mean, you saw being in
Yeah.
LA, you'd be DJing somewhere and things like that. But again, it's never gonna bring you the type of person that you're wanting to actually build maybe a life with. And people can change. Again, there's always exceptions, but it's hard. Dating's hard in
It
2024.
is, especially in 2024. What's the ideal? What's the universal sign that she is into you?
If she's if you're courting her and she's responding well to it and she's saying yes to going on dates and she's being open and vulnerable with you and honest and she's telling you, this is for me at least, like if I'm telling you what my plans are for the future, what they look like, this is what I'm wanting, this is, where I want, at least for me, if I'm having deep conversations with you about what I want my future to look like, I'm into you. Like, I'm into you. If I'm just sitting there and I'm having like very surface level conversations, you're just probably a friend or a guy that I kind of put to the side. But if you're someone that I'm like, I could see myself dating with you, I'm asking you questions. I'm asking you about, where you see yourself, what do you want out of your life, like things like that. And again, I'm 30, so
And you know what?
if you're 20 and you're listening to this, it might be a
No.
little bit different for you. But I would even suggest at 20 or early 20s, you could save yourself a lot of heartbreak if you ask guys right off the bat who they are and what they're about,
Wow. Yeah, and I always say there's a phrase that I always use: "Interested is interesting."
Yeah.
The women that I've noticed that weren't interested, they just they do want to hang out, but for the party reasons. I am a DJ.
Yeah. So
and
they want to be next to you on stage.
and it's all good. And there's
Yeah,
it's
it's so
okay to
fun.
have female friends, and that's one of my mentor told me that, bro, is like, bro, you don't have to try to date these girls that you hang out with. They could just be your friends. It'll make you look good as a DJ. They'll be on stage with you. It makes
Yeah.
you look good.
Yeah, it brings business. Yeah, that's
you know
how
what
it
I mean.
works.
But
Yeah.
and I've noticed with those girls, they're super cool, super chill, but it is surface level convo. It is just like, oh, cool, yeah, we're gonna go. Where are we going here? Cool, yeah. It's never deep. The deep combos are the people that are genuinely interested. That's
Yeah.
what I've noticed.
Yeah.
Interested is interesting.
It is about the conversation and like the connection. And you, Jay, who's, you have already roots. Like you have your beautiful, beautiful son. So when you're dating, you're even looking at it from a completely different lens because you're asking, is this a woman that I can see raising my son? Like what kind of morals and values, does she come, what kind of, what
Or
is
not
she
even
wanting?
maybe just embrace, because he has a very, very present mom. But just embrace,
Embrace.
Just
There you go.
embrace, because I believe that step parents have to play their role.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And that goes like, I like to give information to these guys out there. Like, yeah, play your role because more likely you're gonna meet a woman that has a child these days.
Yeah.
I think Jessica's one of the rare gems that's a 30-year-old Latina that does not have a child. You're a rare
I
breed.
want them though.
Are you?
I want to make this very clear.
No,
I cannot
and she's
wait.
fertile too, bro. She told me she's
How do you
ovulating. I'm
know?
kidding.
I'm like, I've never
Because she's
told me that.
Latina for sure.
Oh,
She's
because
like,
I'm Latina. Yeah,
that's the only reason. I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, but you're right. Yeah, because those but even as a father also, but I'm sure it comes into account. This is going to be like a woman in my son's life, so you want them to carry themselves a certain way, and even though they're not going to be his mom by any means, they're in her role. She's still going to be there, and he's still a sponge, and he's taking in everything down to the way that she, dresses, speaks. Does she, what, even just friendship wise, what kind of conversations is she having with your son? I'm sure you take all those things into account, don't you?
Yeah, 100%,
Yeah.
100%. But I think that's where it goes back to the man or the person attracting the person, right? Be that person that you want them to be. Attract what you are. Become what you want to attract.
Yeah. Yeah.
So wow, it's a
Absolutely.
lot of. This is really deep, Jessica.
Is it?
Jeez. You attracted somebody that you're really into right now. You are
Yeah.
off the market,
Mhm.
and do you agree? Do you believe that you attracted this person because you became the person that you want to? You became that person.
So I think when it comes, and you know what? I never talk about my relationships
She
like
doesn't.
ever.
She's super private about her stuff.
Ever.
Always.
Ever. 10 years.
I just found out her last name like last week. It's crazy. It's
It's
Flores.
in my Instagram name, but
she would just go by J Flo. I was never able to put it together.
that's funny. That was my first radio name. But I've been always super private about relationships. So I'm talking about this because love and trust you, and I love this platform. So when it comes to the relationship that I've been in, I'm going to be honest with you. We started off, I will say this. This is how I know this has 100% potential to really be like a long lasting thing, because we started off really having, on our first date, we were talking about
Kids.
kids. I already knew he wanted kids, but we talked about our faith. We talked about our future lifestyle, everything all the real things that are going to carry a relationship. Because I already found this man to be like the most attractive thing ever on planet Earth, like physically my type to a T, but I don't even care unless I know that we can agree. And now more than ever, with the world being as crazy as it is, you have to align on things, even things as polarizing as political beliefs in general, God, like how many kids do you want? Where do you want to live? I'm having those conversations
Uncomfortable
early
conversations.
on. Yeah, 100%. So
I have a question for you. I'm sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt
go ahead.
But so are you able to tell the difference between guys, like when you go on a first date, like, oh, this guy is taking me serious, or oh, this guy just wants to have a good time,
Right.
based on the conversations you have
Yeah.
with him?
definitely.
So like this first
Definitely.
date that you're describing, it was like, oh, okay, we started off strong, because
Yeah.
now like you were talking about like our morals, our values and stuff. Okay, cool.
Absolutely. I already knew going in, like, he was looking for something definitely serious, and I know I was too. And if we didn't align on certain things, I know he would have walked away. I would have walked away. It doesn't even matter if we were like physically super attracted to each other. It was like, this is just not going to work out. And sometimes we get blindsided by the looks or a man's success. Like, women can get really blinded also by, or whatever you've achieved or what car you drive. But really think about it, like, down the line, are you guys going to agree on parenting styles? Is that going to be an issue? Are you guys going to agree on whether you want to go to church on Sunday or not? Are you going to be fighting each other on that? All the little lifestyle things, because relationships become mundane. They become boring. There's a day where you wake up next to the same person, you're like, again? You know what I mean? So like, you have to make sure that you guys are in full alignment, and we were. And I will say this, there was a point right after where it did become toxic. It became really
How long have you been with this person?
unhealthy. Not that long. We've only been together like maybe almost like half a year, but it did become unhealthy. And we had like a dynamic that was very tension and I will take accountability for my part, because of how I was raised in LA and this hustle culture. I've always really put myself in a position where it's kind of like, this is me, and it's if you can't deal with it, you can't deal with it.
Oh, okay.
And
You're being that Latina.
Because it's like, I
If I'm
built
too
this
much, go find less.
yeah, and there's part I've let a lot of that die in me, like that ego. I've worked on letting a lot of that go, because I've worked really hard for my career. And I think a lot of women that are listening to this that can relate to, I've been a career woman. You worked so hard I've worked 10 years for this. Nobody's gonna come in here and shake things up. But if you really, and I've learned this through like a lot of just prayer and conversations with him, if I really want that life that I want with a man that is dominant and masculine, there has to be parts of me that I have to sacrifice. You have to make sacrifices for your man.
Swallow up your pride?
I had
or-
to swallow up my pride. And I think also on his end, he was going through a lot of, he did the party scene for a long time. He was doing a lot of those things that
Bunch of country
we've been
clubs?
around. A lot of what?
Country clubs?
Yeah, country clubs,
Yeah,
whatever kind of
lot
club.
of
Nashville gets a
line
little
dancing.
crazy.
A lot of line dancing?
A lot of line dancing, yeah.
A lot of whiskey?
So he was also healing and trying to move past that phase in his life. and I don't even mean to get like corny or simpy, but if, you know, I'm having an honest conversation about like my own journey in relationships, God can really, I mean, God can come in and save anything. Like, I mean, if you align on the real things like morals, values, character, faith, things like that, all the other stuff like communication styles, like what's your communication style? Are you an anxious avoidant, or are you, you know, are you somebody that's more, you need more communication out of someone? Learning all your different communication patterns and why you respond the way that you do can completely fix a relationship. And doing like the little work on how you guys talk to each other, treat each other, and actually being open to not having an ego and saying, you know what, this is where I need help and I need work. And I have done a lot of that because I want things, you know, to work between me and him, because I see so much potential in just how we view the world. It's just we had different communication styles, and it got really messy at some points. But yeah, it's just learning each other. Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. Okay, so you found the one.
You know, everything you always see, but
day
right
by
now
day.
he's been great, and he's been really leading me and helping me out.
Is
to be
he
honest.
Caucasian?
He's white, yeah. Could you
Okay.
believe it? I'm
Is this-
dabbling in the white.
Right, right. And I saw that coming from a mile away.
Did you?
Yeah, I mean,
Really?
Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the only 10 you see. I get it.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
he's
he's 6 feet, right?
he's 6'2", I believe.
Never
Something
mind.
like that.
6'2". He's an overachiever.
Yeah.
Is the dynamic different? Is the morals different because you grew up super Latina? I see you're really close to your parents. They're still together. That's amazing. I see you posted on your social media. You go on walks with your parents, and you highlight them that it's you know, their love is super still active and alive and cute.
Yeah.
And they still hold hands, and they go take their dog for a walk.
Yeah.
And their morals are different. And you know, from white people, has that been a challenge?
I know exactly what you're talking about. And luckily for me, he's like really, really family oriented, and I think he's with his mom right now. Him and his mom have an incredible relationship, and his dad. He's close with all of them. But culturally speaking, I think that's really big, because I think when he comes to my family parties, it is culture shock.
Yeah, he's like, he walks in like, bailemos con el tuca. Bailemos. He's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is line
Yeah.
dancing in Spanish.
Basically, I'm like, honestly, corridos are just kind of like country music, but in Spanish.
Yeah.
I think that has been one of the hardest parts for me, is because I've really dated mostly in the past are people that are either ethnic or mostly Latino. Bringing him into a space where my mom has broken English and my dad has broken English, and he's like really well spoken, and you know, he goes. It's funny, he came to my brother's house once, and they were playing country music at my brother's house. We love country music. Like, I love country music. We do it just because we love it. And he literally comes to me and he goes,
You don't have to play
he's
this
like,
music because I'm
are
here.
they just playing that because I'm here? And I'm like, no. He thinks that we're like trying to like, you know, but it's difficult. Like, interracial dating can be really difficult, but he's really kind about it, and he's like loves it, and he just wants to learn more. But it is hard when you can't share that, like,
Right. That's
being
what I
in
was
the car and
getting
you're like,
at.
you don't know
Yeah,
Chente,
'cause-
you don't know Joan Sebastian. How do you not know like Peso Pluma, or, you know, how do you not?
Right.
This is what I grew up on. It's a huge part of who we are.
Right, but I mean, I believe that love is a universal language. I'm sure there's been people in this world. There are people in this world that don't understand each other, that don't speak the same language. One doesn't speak English, the other one doesn't speak Spanish, and they just, you know, they're together. It's
Yeah.
love. My mom and her ex-boyfriend were together for like 14 years, and she only spoke to him in Spanish, and he only spoke to her in English the whole time. The whole time.
Oh, okay, but they can
They
understand.
understand, of course. They understood.
I was like, how did that
Yeah,
work?
They
Okay.
understood each other, but
Wow.
yeah, everybody tripped out. They were like, yeah. And he understood everything. She understood everything. And
And they were together
they were together for,
14 years.
yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, back to
Holy
you guys,
moly.
to the universal language. At the end of the day, it's however you guys make it.
How about you? Is culture really important for you when you're dating?
Yes and no. I mean, for me, it's just a vibe, but it would be nice to have a woman that speaks Spanish that could, communicate with my mom and my family, and we could touch on, Mexi subjects,
Yeah.
like, what, you didn't grow up with freaking Chapulín Colorado or
Yeah.
El Chavo? You're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I grew up to Garth Brooks.
Okay, literally though, and like shout out my man, but like I have never listened to so much Creed in my life. Like Creed went to a Creed concert. He has put me on to so many things. He's like, how have you never heard of this? And I'm like, how have you never heard of half the stuff I'm talking about? Like, there's such a like, it's a learning. Culturally, I could not be more of a learning process. Even the food, just all of it. The way, it's the southern people are just, it's different. Culturally, it could not be more opposite. So
right, but you went out there like knowing that that's what you wanted. That's where you wanted to go. Did it become a little too much for you at first? You're like, oh shit, I didn't know I was gonna come into this.
That's a really good question as well. I went there. I love country music, so Nashville's really known for country music. So it wasn't like
Music City.
So all I would hear is country music, and it didn't bother me because I like it. But at first it was okay, and then I hadn't listened to like Spanish music in so long, and I went to Miami for a work trip that I was doing out there, and me and him had gone out and they were playing reggaeton, and I actually almost cried a tear because I was like, I miss this. So that's been one of the hardest things about moving. It's like nobody listens to Spanish music, and sometimes I'll play it around my friends that I've made out there, and they'll like humor me. They'll be like, "Oh, Despacito," or like, "Oh, I love Bad Bunny," and they try, and I love them for trying.
I love Bad Bunny,
but it's not the same as like when I'm in the car with my friends here, and you play it, and they don't have to. Like, yeah, they just get it. So it's gotten harder. Like, I miss the culture. I miss going to like see you play, and like you just know every single song. Even down to the English stuff that you play. They don't really listen to that type of English music out there.
Right. What city are you in out there?
I'm in Nashville.
Nashville, Tennessee, right?
I'm in Nashville. Yeah.
How close are you to Nash Vegas?
Probably 10 minutes.
But I don't really go out. Door. Is that like not the thing to do out there when you live out there? When you're a local, you don't go to.
Oh, I get what you mean. Like, do the locals? So
what street is that?
Broadway.
You don't go to Broadway?
I've gone to Broadway a couple times, but no, it does become at some point overwhelming. Also, I'm getting a little older. Like, I'm
right. It's like living in Vegas and going to the Strip all the time, right?
It literally, exactly. It's kind of the same thing, but yeah, people definitely still party hard out there. 100%. It is literally, like you said, Nash Vegas.
God, the 3 times that I've been to Nashville, the third time, thankfully, I wasn't drinking anymore, but. Dude, I had some
I didn't know you'd gone 3 times.
I've been in Nashville, Tennessee 3 times.
Do you love it? Like, how do you rate it?
9.5, 10 out of 10.
Really?
Up there.
See?
You know what's funny?
The Southern hospitality is beautiful.
Right?
Because I thought about like moving out the state, like at least for 2 years, right? Yeah. And I thought about where would I want to move, and I thought about Nashville, even though I've never been, but I'm like, I want to go to a rural place where like I experience some racism. I want everybody. Yeah, like
you're like, I want y'all to talk down to me today.
I want to be called Beaner a couple of times.
No, I just like because out here you don't really experience, or at least I haven't experienced it. I go to the OC a lot, and people are like, "Oh, Huntington Beach is so racist." It's like, really? Every time I'm there, everybody's cool and friendly to me. You know, so it's like I haven't really experienced and maybe it's subjective, right? Because my brother swears every time he goes there, people are looking at him. It's like, bro, like we look the same. Like, how the fuck you experiencing that and I'm not? And I just want to do something different, right? Obviously, somewhere where it's like cheaper and something different for like a year or two, and then. But it's funny that Nashville, and you've been to Nashville, so that's crazy. I've never been to Nashville, but
Nashville's a vibe, bro.
It's crazy.
A vibe, and I'm not big in the country, but I don't block it off completely because I love music.
Yeah,
in
you're
general.
a music fan.
I'm a music fan for sure, and.
So I need to be stopped.
I've been to the Jason Aldean bar. I've been to all those bars out there. And they mix the country with the hip hop. He'll be singing Nelly with
live
country,
music.
Live music with but a country style, and it's
Nelly's a country artist,
he's
right?
super country.
Like he has a country album that's pretty fire.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Super dope, and I loved it. It's the people are so inviting, and but I was just in the Broadway partying.
No, Broadway is so much fun. If you've never gone, go to Broadway.
It's
100%.
number 2 destination to celebrate bachelorette parties in the country.
I mean, nonstop. It's
Number
like
1 is
buses
Vegas.
and just bachelorette.
Oh my God.
Buses full of bachelorette girls. I've been to 3 bachelorettes there. I've been in 3 bachelorettes in Nashville.
Shut
so
up.
I've done it, and it's so much fun.
You guys are wearing the pink glitter cowboy hats.
Yeah, the pink cowboy hat. And you always think when you get there, oh, we're so different. No, every group of bachelorettes has the pink cowboy hat, but it's so much fun, honestly.
Yeah.
It is fun. But even dating out there, I thought it was going to be so much better than LA. When you're in LA, you think anything is going to be better than LA, especially when you're in our line of work. But it's just, again, if you go to Broadway, you're not going to you might find the love of your life, but maybe not
right
all the time. You might have to do it over and over and over and over and over again until maybe you actually find somebody. And also, everybody that goes to Broadway is visiting, so you can't really build something real. So when you're in Nashville and you're dating, you kind of have to go to more strategic spots if you maybe want to meet somebody a little bit more serious.
Right. Let's just say, okay, I mean, I wish you the best with you and your man. Let's just say if it didn't work out, I'm not throwing that salt out there. I'm not that guy. Would you
Yeah.
ever date? Would you want to stay within the realm of what's more your type? Which I see more your type of being like a country vibe, you know, because you're like a country girl. You know, you like being out in the outdoors and feeding the cows, you know? Or would you date a Latino again?
I would date anything.
Okay.
I mean,
JT, you have a chance, bro.
I'm not dating a white boy because I'm like, I'm so done with Latinos or like vice versa. Like I think when you're dating someone, it's truly, it comes down to what their beliefs are. That's literally what is like my number one thing that I'm looking for is like, where's your head at? Like, what are you thinking? And then for me, I can't date somebody if they don't have God at number one. And this is why I say that, because if you're dating a man and that does not have, at least in my opinion, God at the forefront, or really at least really strong moral code, then the world is going to come in and easily sway that man. He's not going to be strong to the temptations of things like pornography. He's not going to be strong to the temptations of women throwing themselves on social media. How many Snapchat girls are there? Even like Instagram girls hitting you up, sending you like pictures and stuff, even if they're unsolicited. Men, and you know, you guys are of the flesh, we're of the flesh. It's very easy to fall into things that are of the flesh, of our temptations, our addictions. But if you're dating somebody, or like in your case, maybe a woman that is actually more rooted in God and wants to serve God even before you, then it's not even just about you. It's like, what am I going to do to make sure that I fall in line, which is my ultimate goal of like being with God. Like that for me has been like the number one thing. And I want everybody to know, like, I have not 100% always been like this. I had a coming to God moment 3 years ago, and that changed my perception on everything. Dating, the way I approached men, because right now we're subjected to so much propaganda. And I think you could agree, like, women, we're being told through music videos, pop culture, that it's so great to be empowered by lending yourself over and over again to men that maybe don't care about you. And I think it's led to so much sadness and so much heartbreak and a lot, I think. And I've seen it with my own friends and even experiencing it myself. Like, when you put yourself out there to men and you call that empowerment, and again, this could be controversial and people might come for me, but I don't really think most women, I'm not going to say all, but live that lifestyle and genuinely go home and feel happy or fulfilled. Like, I don't really think that's the case. And
yeah,
again, I might get a lot of hate for that, but that's
true.
the truth. I mean, I don't. Maybe, you know, if you are someone that's maybe doing like a lot of one night stands, and again, everybody has their journey, and I have not always been perfect, and I've learned the hard way, but I don't remember ever seeing a friend wake up after one and being like, that was awesome. He's never going to hit me up again. Like, you know, like that was great. I want to keep doing it over and over again. I think women deep down inside want a man that's going to like be there the next day and like love them and maybe pursue something with them if they're at that point in their life. So,
right. I mean, I think it's super contradicting when women, once again, you know, you got to put out what you want, you know, super contradicting when they're out partying and they show the turn up, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with partying. I love partying.
Yeah,
it's
I've
awesome.
done it.
Yeah,
I still do it. Me and my man do it.
Super dope. Super
we
dope.
have fun. Yeah.
But they're out turning up, throwing it back for a real one. Their thongs hanging out. It's crazy. They have a nip slip on their stories on Instagram. All that. Then the next day they're posting love quotes. I can't ever find the man that I want. Oh my God, you know.
As I think it's genuinely what they want.
Right,
I think these women want that, but maybe they've been so let down by men over and over and over again that they're numb. I think it's a lot of self-prescribing yourself. I mean, I've done it, like where I go out and I'm just like so out of my mind, and you know, you wake up the next day and you're like, whoa. You feel kind of like that shame come over you, or that like, whoa, you're like looking back the stories, and in that moment you're like, woo, nothing matters. Like you're so lost in that moment. But that next day or whatever stays on the internet, lives on the internet. It's a hard reality sometimes. And I do think at some point you get to an age and you're like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't do this
I think
anymore.
it has to come up. has to come to a point where you do get fed up. I think you have to get fed up.
You have to get fed up.
You have to get fed up, like whether it's like, you're overweight, you want to lose weight, you're too promiscuous, it gets old, different people all the time. Drinking, I think it has to come to the
There's
point
only
where
too many times where you have a hangover the next day and be like,
you know what I mean?
can't do this anymore.
I think it has to like come to a point where you get fed up. You're like, dude, this is getting old. This is going nowhere.
Or,
And that's with everything, and even with relationships
Dating.
and love. Like, okay, dude, me going out all the time and posting the party life is not gonna attract the one, and you should know that. And a lot of people, and a lot of people are prideful and not honest with themselves when it comes to love. I think where they put it out there and be like, I'm happy alone. I don't care about it. Deep down inside, most of the time, I think they do.
I think that's the realest thing, because I'm pointing the mirror at my face, because everybody that's watching this, I want y'all to know, like, the reason I'm saying these things is because I've learned a lot of these lessons the hard way, and you need to hold that mirror, and you do need to get fed up at some point. You need to say this, I'm tired of going after the same man that I want to heal, and you want to be a healer, and you know that they're toxic, and you see all these red flags, but you do it anyway because it's fun and dangerous. And then one day you're going to wake up and be like, I don't want fun, quote unquote, and dangerous. I want safe, secure, building a future with someone. This is someone I can take home to my mom, my dad, have deep conversations with. It's not always going to be fun, new, flirty, like this next fling. Sometimes it's going to be mundane, boring. You have to do the work. You have to relearn that person over and over and over again. But in looking at my parents' relationships, I think you find true fulfillment when you date someone through all their versions.
Wow.
You have like a death and rebirth every single day, every single week, every single year. When do we ever stay the same person? But my mom and I were having a conversation about it like last week, and she's like, I've never been in a more better place with your dad in my life. We've never been so in love. And I've watched them go through hell and back. Seriously, like, if people want to look, they see my mom's stories with my dad and they think, wow, Jessica has a perfect family, perfect marriage, parents. They absolutely go through it. They've gone through the trenches. They've been together since my mom was 17. So yeah, so they've had to communicate. They've had to sacrifice. My mom has to really get to that next level, I think, of a relationship. You have to do that. And I always had my ego in the way. I was always like, this is my life. This is, my career, my. But if I want the things that I say that I want, and deep down I know, God knows, like, what I really want in my heart and soul, you need to make change. I need to change my ego. I need to check my own self and my own attitude when my man said, hey, that makes me uncomfortable. Well, this is my career, and this is my brand, and blah blah blah, like all the things that I was so quick with past relationships to shut them down. And that's why so many of my relationships didn't work out, because I was so like, career or nothing. If you can't accept it, you can't accept it. And it wasn't even just that and I want to make this very clear, because this could be misconstrued. It's not that he was telling me he didn't want me to pursue a career. He was very proud of who I was and what I was doing, but it was like late nights at the studio, little things that would, or just maybe I don't want you to wear that, things like that, because it was maybe a little bit too much. I would always get defensive and say, well, this is who I am. But because I love him, I've learned.
How did you respond to that?
In the past, it was, this is who I am, take it or leave it. You knew who you were dating or whatever before you met me.
And you'd do this when you
and I would do this. I would literally do this if you knew. But I think it took a lot of maturing and realizing, if you're going to be in a relationship with someone, you want to make them happy. Yeah. Like, that's your person. And relationships, I think nowadays, are so tit for tat. If you hurt me, I'm going to hurt you. No, you're not going to tell me what to do. Instead of it being, you know what, Jay, I want to make you happy. So I'm going to do this for you. Just like you do it for your friends, for your girlfriends, for your guy friends. You're going to do things to make them happy, even if it's not who you are or whatever, all the things that I would say. You want to do it because you want to just make them happy. And that took time for me to like pull myself out of my own ego and say, you know what, if I actually want this, it's going to take certain sacrificing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's been growth.
Yeah, no, because I don't see a lot of people being that way or doing that anymore in these days, Yeah. I've talked about how I've met girls who I met, kind of like revealing themselves on social, and then me being with them, and then me telling them to tone it down, and they didn't. And I was okay with it. That's who they are, but I just couldn't move forward with the relationship. Yeah, and that's the thing also, like, women, if you are dress a certain type of way or act a certain type of way, I'm sure there's a guy for everybody, but
Also, if you are dating someone and that's just where their boundary is, then you have to be okay with maybe them walking away or there just being tension. People set boundaries. Women, we set boundaries. We want those boundaries to be. If you have demands, I want my man to make this much money, they have to step up. There's also demands, and I think as a woman, I've had to learn that I also have to, you know what? Like if there's certain things if there's a certain man I'm trying to attract, that I need to be the woman that is going to be attracted to that. And that's taken refining myself and doing work with myself and, just trying to be better because I couldn't keep going down the cycle I was going down.
Have you been able to chase your dreams being in a fully committed relationship now? Have you been able to put in as much work and effort into your work? How's the work-love life balance been since you've been with your dude? Because I know you're always on the grind, and has that slowed down? Have you, does he support you being super busy? How's that been working?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, because in Tennessee, after every question, that's a good question.
No, that's cool. It is a good question.
You ask good questions, Jay. No, in Tennessee, I don't work as much. That's just what it is. The industry is not out there. So, but I do get flown out at least 2 or 3 times a month to do different gigs that I'm doing in LA, Miami, LA, Miami, New York. And he's super, super supportive. He loves that I do what I do. Obviously, there's certain moments where he's like, really, you're leaving again for a week and things like that. But he understands who I am and where I come from and what I do.
Well, that's good that he cares about you being gone,
Thank you. I'm glad you miss me. You want him to miss you.
A lot of guys will be like, oh, cool, she's leaving for a week.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, like this is my free time.
I get to be a bag full of scum. I'm kidding,
Yeah. But actually, luckily for me, he's like, can I come with you? He'll always just book a flight and meet me at my, wherever I'm at.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Kind of weird, but cool. Like stage.
Wait, he's like, I get to get a hotel in Miami for free. I'm booking a flight,
Stage 9 clinger, but it's cool. I'm kidding.
Stop. No,
what does he do for a living?
So he is starting an AI company, and then he also
completely opposite from what I was thinking. I thought he was a farmer.
Yeah, I could see that, but he does. But he works with his hands a lot, and he is also investing in a lot of real estate. Because in the past I've always said I've been into blue collar men. That's always been my type. But he's very masculine, even though he has more of like a office job.
No, of course.
What's your type? I want to know that. All these questions to me. What's
he
your
has
type?
to be 6 feet tall. Wait, girls?
For girls. I know you like curly headed guys.
I like physically. I like I like tall women. I can't stand short girls because they don't like short guys. I'm kidding. I like. It doesn't. I think 5'4" and under 5'4" to 5 feet.
Okay.
5 feet to 5'4". I don't have a preference in ethnicities and nationalities, but preferably Latina, lighter skin, brunette, juicy lips,
Okay.
cute little nose,
All the things.
in shape,
Fully equipped.
in shape. I don't care about the boo, but in shape, and of course, being able to carry conversations. I like a girl that's goal oriented for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of guys out there, they do love the housewife that doesn't do anything. They're cool with that. I am too, do that, but I love girls that have something going on for themselves. I like entrepreneur girls. I've said it before here a few
What do you think it
times.
is about girls like that you like? Because
I just like a quick little chick, like,
yeah.
I like that.
Do you like it because, like, what's the root of it? Is it because she's busy all the time and, like, you get to focus on you a little bit more? Or do you like it because you can go 50-50 on things? Like, what is it?
I don't care about the 50-50. I don't mind taking care of everything. But, yeah, what you said first. What did you say first?
That she's busy. So she
I
kind of has
love
her own
that.
life.
You know what? I've seen it on quotes like, your significant other should be your second priority if you really want to be happy. Because I strongly believe that happiness comes through accomplishments.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because when I accomplish things, I'm the happiest,
Yeah.
And I love a girl that has something going on for herself. Yeah, be a little too busy for me. I like that.
And I think I love that you said that because there's this huge dialogue happening on the internet right now, which is like the traditional wife girl versus a more boss babe type
Right.
girl. And there's such a discourse happening of like, well, which is the route to go? Like, do men want this or do men want this? And here's what it comes down to. Ladies, even guys, there's going to be something out there for you. If you want to be a traditional wife that really depends 100% on a man, there is a man, a good man, wanting that. Trust me, there is. And if you are a boss babe, there's men like Jay who empower that. They want that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's, again, that's why having those conversations up front saying, do you see yourself providing for me? Or like all those questions those are like quick conversations so that you don't waste your time. They don't waste their time. And people might be like, that's so aggressive. Who wants to talk about that on like the third date? Well, maybe you're just casually dating. And if you're casually dating, that's different. But if you're genuinely serious about finding your forever person, then I think those are fundamental things. And I think if the person that you're on a date with is also serious about finding the person, they won't be scared of those questions either. They'll be like, I invite that because I'm wanting to know the same out of you.
Your energy is amazing, and we're so happy to have had you today. JT, thank you so much. Jessica Flores.
Thank
Ladies and gentlemen, that was
you.
another fun-filled episode of She's Not That Into You. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's go.
She's not